A warm welcome to today's update video titled The Sign of the Son of Man. It appears shortly. And as you can already read, this is about a major update regarding the third interstellar comet ever discovered, 3I Atlas. Since 3I Atlas disappeared behind the sun, a lot has happened, and it seems like a certain fear of the things to come is rising. Well, today we will work through this mystery again for you from a biblical perspective, so that only those really need to worry who simply refuse to accept what 3I Atlas actually is. After all, this video today is already the 10th one in which we report on the 3 interstellar objects discovered so far. The heavens have been quite in motion for a good while, I would say. And today, we're adding a little extra drama when we look at the few remaining weeks leading into December. So, it's getting exciting again. Stay tuned. Let's look right away at the last video where we talked about the bride. In the video, the bride makes herself ready. We saw the bride as the Church of Jesus on earth, and we searched for the bride in Revelation in the firmament and discovered that it very likely points to the moon, which is hiding a huge secret. At the moment when the bride is granted, according to Revelation 19, to be clothed in fine, pure linen, the moon would therefore also have to get rid of its outer, dirty shell. And if you haven't watched that video yet, now is definitely the time to do so. Knowing this could save some from receiving the hail of the third woe. Maybe some people still laugh today about this biblically based deduction of the bride in the firmament. But what if this secret that the moon seems to hide actually turns out to be true? The third interstellar visitor is currently on everybody's lips. 3I Atlas has recently disappeared behind the sun, meaning from Earth it wasn't very visible because of the sunlight, and also not particularly easy to observe. The media has been full of reports that it's disappearing behind the sun, and that news should really surprise no one anymore. Let's quickly read what NASA says. 3I Atlas should remain visible to ground-based telescopes through September 2025, after which it will pass too close to the sun to observe. It will reappear on the other side of the sun by early December 2025, allowing for renewed observations. Please keep these rough timeframes in mind. Why is the comet not well observable for a while? Why is that? Here you see Earth's orbit, and here is the sun at the center. And here was 3I Atlas on, for example, October 21. This moment can be described as a superposition, because on that day, the Earth, the Sun, and 3I Atlas were aligned. And as you can see, another important comet, C2025 A6 Lemon, has also come into focus. We will go into that comet in more detail in the next video, because it still has a tremendously important role to fulfill in the harvest texts. Anyone who knows us should already be alert, because October 21 is an important day for us. The transition from the first to the second hour of the fall of Babylon. Please don't forget that fact. We'll come back to that. Its perihelion, the point closest to the sun, was reached by 3i Atlas on October 29, 2025, just to mention it again. So, in summary, since about the end of September, 3i Atlas started hiding behind the sun's glare. And by around the end of November or beginning of December, it should once again be visible and observable without restrictions. At least that's what NASA says. And don't forget, its closest approach to Earth is on the already well-known December 19 of this year. I've also marked another core period, namely the few days before and after the superposition around October 21, where 3i Atlas had its central time behind the sun. We know that high-resolution images were captured by the Mars probe when the comet passed close to it. But those have so far been withheld from us ordinary people. At least that's what you can read online. And that, of course, fuels the speculation around 3i Atlas even more. Do they know something that we are not supposed to know? The fact is, and this is very important for today's video, because of this superposition and the perihelion, we get three rough time regions. 3i Atlas was officially discovered on July 1, and images already showed it from June 25 onward. We reported about this in the recent videos. We already know that a decision was made in heaven between the Father and the Son as high priest, after which the high priest, Jesus, ended his ministry in the temple in the third heaven and through the censer toward the earth. This third interstellar object also matches the texts of the sixth trumpet or the second woe, just as 2i Borisov matched the first woe, and just as 1i Oumuamua announced the three woes at the end of the fourth trumpet text. And since the end of June, we have informed you that our King of Kings is on his way to earth with the entire heavenly host. The bridegroom is coming. He is on his way. That's why I made this special background image in the slides for this video, so that once and for all, it becomes visual and tangible for everyone. We have covered all this already, but now we are in that short time period from around the end of September until around the end of November or the beginning of December, where 3i Atlas is officially considered hidden or not very well observable, and we're all supposed to remain in the dark. And the U.S. government shutdown fits perfectly for that. So NASA doesn't have to release any high-resolution images. On Wikipedia, you can read that the comet will soon be visible again under certain conditions after perihelion. And that's true. because on X and other social media, new videos and new images from amateur astronomers of 3i Atlas keep appearing. Is this time really a time of uncertainty? Well, for those who have not given ear or belief to what we have presented so far, absolutely. And for us, hardly, because in the videos already published, the entire timeline has been shown with the most important key events up into December. No one needs to remain uncertain, even if someone does not understand or know all the details in Revelation. But in this orange time period, something has happened that points to various Bible verses and confirms what we have said so far. I will go into this in the next slides. Because of this alarming news, people are now afraid of what will happen once 3i Atlas becomes visible again, or when not only smaller amateur astronomers show rather insignificant images, but when the major institutions like NASA or ESA once again present images of 3i Atlas. Has 3i Atlas accelerated or slowed down? Is this supposed spacecraft currently deploying smaller ships behind the sun to surprise or attack us while we couldn't observe anything? Others say that 3i Atlas could undergo a transformation, or maybe the comet could even fall to Earth, and so on. Those are the questions and fears you can find everywhere. What news am I talking about that is so unusual? Quietly and secretly, without a major announcement, the following was made public on the very well-known October 21, the day when the first hour of the fall of Babylon ends and the second begins, and when this superposition in the firmament was visible. Announcement of IAWN Comet Astrometry Campaign November 27, 2025 to January 27, 2026. Comets present unique challenges for accurate astrometric measurements and orbit predictions. Cometary bodies are extended with morphological features, coma and tails, that can systematically pull their centroid measurements off their central brightness peak, presenting challenges to estimate comet trajectories. The International Asteroid Warning Network, IAWN, announces a comet campaign from November 27, 2025 through January 27, 2026 to introduce methods for improving astrometry from comet observations. The campaign will target Comet 3i Atlas to exercise the capability of the observing community to extract accurate astrometry. To prepare for the campaign, we will hold a workshop in techniques to correctly measure comet astrometry. Since the founding of this institution, intensive observation campaigns have already been conducted 7 times on various comets and asteroids. But this time, for the first time, an interstellar visitor is being put under the microscope. They apparently did not consider it worthwhile to look at 1i Oumuamua and 2i Borisov so intensively. But with 3i Atlas, they suddenly do. You can see something is fishy here. We can summarize it very briefly. From November 27 onward, all eyes are on 3i Atlas. The reason given in this document is, to put it mildly, a joke. Just because of methods to improve astrometry from comet observations, they point all telescopes at 3i Atlas. As I said, they have already done that 7 times before as well. But we know that 3i Atlas is not an ordinary visitor, but is hiding a secret that faith has already revealed long ago to the watchful and those looking up. But the world is still asleep. So think with me. Since the appearance of 3i Atlas, astronomers have been wondering about this interstellar visitor anyway. There isn't a day without new videos. You know the rumor mill. Then those amazing photos from the Mars probe were supposed to be released. But supposedly because of the US government shutdown, the photos are not published. Yes, what a coincidence, right? And in response to these withheld images, this network is silently commissioned to point all telescopes at 3i Atlas, once it can be perfectly observed again. We know what 3i Atlas indicates, and also who is, so to speak, traveling with it. But science and many other people simply want nothing to do with God and His written word, and the fulfillments in the firmament. Let's take a look at why this network even exists. The one being deployed this time against 3i Atlas. For the sake of completeness, here is again the moment of the publication of this undertaking. You already know this timeline from the previous videos. Here is October 21, here the first hour, and here the second hour of the fall of Babylon. And the announcements for this observation campaign took place when images from the Mars probe already existed, but we are not allowed to see them. And precisely on this October 21, it is made public that the Russians have successfully tested a nuclear-powered missile, about which the Russian military chief, Gerasimov, says that it would send the attacking nations back into the Stone Age. Let's read. The Burevestnik, which means storm petrel in Russian, is the world's first nuclear-powered. That propulsion gives it virtually unlimited range, allowing it to loiter for days, circling the enemy's air defenses and attacking from an unexpected direction. Didn't we, in the last video, The Bride Makes Herself Ready, explain that the call to the birds of the heavens for this great supper of the birds in Revelation 19 was issued on October 8 to 10, as you can see here in the timeline? We explained that with this symbol of the birds, earthly airborne objects are meant, jets, missiles. Here you have such a bird missile, which can apparently circle for a long time before it strikes. I hope no one has forgotten that 3i Atlas represents the second woe, which points to exactly this terrible and unavoidable coming Third World War, where, according to the biblical text, 1/3 of humanity will perish. How does Trump react to this unmistakable message from Russia? On October 29, the day of the perihelion of 3i Atlas, Trump announces that the United States will now, after 30 years, resume nuclear testing. Do you see how the key dates of 3i Atlas keep pointing to the theme of the second woe? So what exactly is this IAWN that is supposed to scrutinize 3i Atlas? It is called the International Asteroid Warning Network.